Welcome to Unity. This chilly morning, oh my goodness. I'm sure it's going to warm up a little bit. So we're just going to come in the presence of this room and leave our work and our world outside these doors and gift ourselves with this hour, loving ourselves and connecting with that greater knowledge, that greater universal peace. And we'll start by calling that in with chanting. I say to sing is to pray twice, and so we do encourage you to sing with us. I will be the call, and Norma will be the response at first, and then eventually she and I will be the call together, and you'll be the response. And, when you sing, you can't harbor or hold any limitations or hardship in your consciousness. It's just not possible. So I encourage you, if you want to get out of that monkey chatter mind and allow yourself to have 15 minutes of chanting, watch how your day will be so much more peaceful today, because this is the quickest way to meditation that there is to chant and then head into that meditation. And we do have meditation pillows in the front if you want to sit on the floor. So the meditation pillows as well. Return to your soul.
Return to your soul.
Return to your heart of hearts.
Return to your heart of hearts.
To your golden dream.
To your golden dream.
To the child inside.
To the child inside.
And you'll be coming home.
And you'll be coming home.
Home to where you're born.
Home to where you're born.
Where your roots are strong.
Where your roots are long.
Where you once belonged.
Where you once belonged.
Return to your soul.
Return to your soul.
Return to your heart of hearts.
Return to your heart of hearts.
To your golden dream.
To your golden dream.
To the child inside.
To the child inside.
And you'll be coming home.
And you'll be coming home.
Home to where you're born.
Where to your home.
Where your roots are strong.
Where your roots are strong.
Where you once belonged.
Where you once be strong.
Return to your soul.
Return to your soul.
Return to your heart of hearts.
Return to your heart of hearts.
To your golden dream.
To your golden dream.
To the child inside.
To the child inside.
And you'll be coming home.
And you'll be coming home.
Home to where you're born.
Home to where you're born.
Where your roots are strong.
Where your roots are strong.
Where you once belonged. God is everywhere.
God is everywhere.
It's painted in eternity.
It's painted in eternity.
It's who you really are.
It's who you really are.
And who you'll always be.
And who you'll always be.
Return to your soul.
Return to your soul.
Remember who you are.
Remember who you are.
Listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart.
Remember who you are.
Remember who you are.
God is everywhere.
God is everywhere.
It's painted in eternity.
It's painted in eternity.
It's who you really are.
It's who you really are,
who you'll always be,
and who you'll always be.
return to your soul,
Return to your soul.
remember who you are,
Remember who you are.
listen to your heart,
Listen to your heart.
remember who you are,
Remember who you are. Return to your soul. Return to your heart of hearts. To your golden dream. To the child inside. And you'll be coming home. Home to where you're born. Where your roots are strong. Where you once belonged. Return to your soul. Return to your heart of hearts. To your golden dream. To the child inside. And you'll be coming home. Home to where you're born. Where your roots are strong. Where you once belonged. Return to your soul. Return to your heart of hearts. To your golden dream. To the child inside. And you'll be coming home. Home to where you're born. Where your roots are strong. Where you once belonged. God's everywhere. It's painted in eternity. It's who you really are. And who you'll always be. Return to your soul. Return to your soul. Remember who you are. Listen to your heart. Remember who you are. God is everywhere. It's painted in eternity. It's who you really are and who you'll always be. Return to your soul. Return to who you are. Listen to your heart. Remember who you are. God is everywhere. It's painted in eternity. It's who you really are and who you'll always be. Return to your soul. Remember who you are. Listen to your heart. Remember who you are. Return to your soul. Return to your heart of hearts, to your golden dream, to the child inside, and you'll be coming home, home to where you're born, where your roots are strong, where you once belonged. Return to your soul. Return to your heart of hearts, to your golden dream, to the child inside, and you'll be coming home, home to where you're born, where your roots are strong, where you once belonged.
Before we begin, once again, I have to ask for some volunteers to help clear this altar for the next service. So when this is over, if you can come down and help clear this altar area, that's very appreciated. Welcome to the 8th lesson in our 10-lesson series on the top teachings about mastering life, this life and the life to come. Last Sunday, we examined the great awakening that's happening in the consciousness of humanity. That awakening is bringing with it innovations that are curtailing global warming and dissolving pollution throughout our planet. Here's another example of those innovations that are taking place now. Can we have this first?
What is causing this temperature rise?
It's mostly the greenhouse gases.
So it's the carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, it's the one that is increasing by leaps and bounds.
But there may be a solution, all thanks to this extraordinary rock. It's called basalt. It's all over Iceland and on many volcanic islands, and it's formed when lava is forced up to the surface and cools very quickly, forming these extraordinary patterns. But more important for environmental science, it's also porous. It's full of tiny holes. And scientists here in Iceland have figured out a way to get carbon dioxide to bind with the rock, taking it out of the environment. And that is good for all of us.
The CO2 flows with the steam through the turbines. We take this gas, put it in at the bottom of the column. Then we have a shower of water coming in at the top. The CO2 automatically dissolves in water.
So you turn it into like
Yeah.
a carbonated beverage, like a soda.
It's just a soda machine.
You push it 3-4 times, you get carbonated water, and instead you're just pouring it underground.
Yeah,
It kind of makes sense.
it makes sense, yeah. It's no rocket science.
The white we're seeing on this, that's the mineralized carbon dioxide.
Yes,
And it found its way into the little nooks and crannies of the stone.
yes.
How much potential does this have?
We have more than enough rock formations to store all CO2 if we were to burn all fossil fuel available on Earth.
So why isn't this happening everywhere today?
Cost has been the main barrier. It is a disturbance in everyday operations, but we will test this type of method both in Turkey, Italy, and Germany.
What about the United States?
Yes, there is interest in the United States. There was a very similar process being developed. I sincerely hope that we will have replications of this process throughout the world, while at the same time increasing all the other solutions for the climate crisis. We will see significant reduction in CO2 emissions.
This awakening to the divine awareness is gathering momentum throughout the world. And this awakening is all that unity is about. It is about bringing forth the new consciousness, the new divine consciousness in humanity. It is the releasing of the self-centered consciousness that we were born and raised and educated in and believed for so long that it could solve all of our problems. But such problems can't be solved without the higher intelligence, which is what we are all a part. Making an alignment with that intelligence is what spiritual practice is all about. Here's Master Eckhart Tolle speaking about this awakening in the human experience. Can we have the first PowerPoint, please? This is from his book, The New Earth. Only the first awakening, the first glimpse of consciousness without thought, happens by grace, without any doing on your part. Once you have had a glimpse of awareness or presence, you know it firsthand. It is no longer just a concept in your mind. You can then make a conscious choice to be present rather than to indulge in useless thinking. You can invite presence into your life, that is to say, make space. With the grace of awakening comes responsibility. You can either try to go on as if nothing has happened, or you can see its significance and recognize the arising of awareness as the most important thing that can happen to you. Opening yourself to the emerging consciousness and bringing its light into this world then becomes the primary purpose of your life. So opening to this emerging consciousness doesn't require extraordinary things to take place that you have to do. It really mostly requires the desire and the willingness. Listen very carefully to this. The desire and willingness to have the mind-made resistance to the presence of peace removed. To have all of the mind-made blocks and resistance to true peace removed. This is that mystical peace and love that the masters speak about. It's a peace that surpasses the understanding of the world, because the world only has peace. People operating in the world consciousness only have peace when their personal self-interest are being met, when their expectations, their opinions are being met and honored. We're talking about transcending the illusionary consciousness that has created all of the conflict and disturbance and suffering that we experience on our planet. And that is happening by virtue of the fact that this divine awareness is now coming forth in a very powerful and meaningful way in the consciousness of people everywhere. Years ago, many years ago, Norma, my wife Norma, and I were stranded in a Denver traffic jam. It was Christmas Eve, and it was about 4 in the afternoon. And we were trying to get back from Denver to Boulder because we had planned a necessary rehearsal for the Christmas Eve service at 5 o'clock. And we were stuck. I'm not just talking about traffic that is inching along. The traffic had stopped. I think one of these huge oil tankers turned over on the highway somewhere, and nobody could move. So it's going to be a long time. And we're stuck bumper to bumper in this traffic. And I am beginning to lose my ministerial cool, which is something that they train you never to lose when you go through the ministerial program in Unity. They do intensive training. Each Unity student has to lay in a pit of poisonous vipers and recite the 23rd Psalm. So it's intensive training so that you can sustain this presence of peace no matter what's taking place in people's lives. They always think, he's really in touch with what is truly real, which is God. Anyway, I'm losing my ministerial cool there, knowing we're not going to be able to get to this rehearsal. It's going to be chaos, the Christmas Eve service. It's going to be chaos. So I get out of the car, which is what I do sometimes, and nothing's happening. The cars are all stopped. And I look up at the sky where God doesn't really live, but you have to look someplace if you're going to challenge God to a fist fight. So I'm looking up at the sky, and this flock of ducks flies over. And there's about 40 ducks flying over. And I know God sent them because they're headed right for Boulder, and they're going to be there in 10 minutes. So it's just more intimidation coming from the all-powerful one. And people say to me, you're exaggerating to think that God would send ducks like that. Really? When you watch ducks fly by, they're usually 100 feet in the air. These ducks were 1 foot above my head. And they weren't flying in a V formation, they were flying in a single file, messing my hair and crapping all over me as they went by. So it was hard to maintain my ministerial cool. Norma's shouting to me, get in the car before those ducks kill you. I get back in the car. This is a true part of the story. The ducks actually did fly over. They were in formation, okay. But this is a true part of the story. I get back in the car, and she has this station on that's playing golden oldies from the past, because we were tired of listening to the Christmas music. And so she's got these golden oldies on the radio, and this is the song that is playing when I get back in the car. Listen to the lyrics. Pay close attention to these lyrics. I'm going to show you a video, current video, of that song from this golden oldie era. Can we have this next?
Up on the roof, up on the roof. When this old world starts getting me down, and people are just too much for me to face, up on the roof. I climb way up to the top of the stairs, and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof, it's peaceful as can be, and there the world below can't bother me. Let me tell you now, when I come home feeling tired and weak, I go up where the air is fresh and sweet. I get away from the hustling crowd and all that rat race noise down in the street. On the roof, the only place I know where you just have to wish to make it so. Let's go up on the roof. Up on the
Hey, you better memorize this. This is the lesson for today. I apologize. Okay.
At night the stars put on a show for free, and darling, you can share it all with me. I keep a telling you, right smack dab in the middle of town, I found a paradise that's trouble-proof. And if this world starts getting you down, there's room enough for two up on the roof. Up on the roof. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, come on, honey. Everything is alright.
If you're paying attention, you realize this is actually a spiritual lesson. To, rise above looking at the conditions and circumstances around you and just enter into this higher place of awareness, which is what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the now, the dynamic now. And you will discover as you do this practice that when you are capable of just allowing your thoughts to relax and you bring your consciousness to the present of what's taking place right in the present and accept it, because the now is the only reality. The past is gone and the future is only imagined. And when we enter the spiritual path, we learn to release the continual, incessant thinking that is forever involved in attempting to gain some kind of personal advantage over conditions and circumstances. But this is the problem with living in the illusionary idea of life. When we learn to be present, we enter in a state of mystical peace, because we've dropped the resistance that the mind puts up to just being present with the way things are and the way people are. So we have this teaching from Eckhart Tolle. Can we take a look at this in the next PowerPoint? In his book, Stillness Speaks, do you treat this moment as if it were an obstacle to be overcome? Do you feel you have a future moment to get to that is more important? Almost everyone lives like this most of the time. Since the future never arrives, except as the present, it is a dysfunctional way to live. It generates a constant undercurrent of unease, tension, and discontent. It does not honor life, which is now and never not now. People take a look at this and conceptualize and try to think about what this means. What we have to do is we have to practice it. We have to practice allowing ourselves to be okay with things just the way they are in the present moment. Certainly there are certain conditions and circumstances that we're not going to allow ourselves to just be present with. We're going to withdraw from them. But for the most part, our uneasiness and anxiety and concerns and fears all have to do with a projected illusionary idea of the future. And when we start to enter into the present moment and become conscious that we are one with what is true and real, it affects all of the future. It brings us a state of peace and joy that is beyond the comprehension of the illusionary idea of life. So this is what our practice is all about. This is how we enter into that state of oneness with God. So here it is simply stated to us, learn to pause. Whenever you feel negative emotions and resistance rising within you, take a holy pause and allow yourself to just look at the thoughts you're thinking that are making you feel anxious and concerned. And see that in that moment, this is mastery, my friends. In that moment, you can actually choose peace, regardless of what's taking place in the never-ending illusions of the mind. You can choose peace. And in choosing that, you'll be lifted out of the concerns and into that divine dimension that the masters share. And with enough of that practice, one can sustain that level of awareness that whenever things are not going quite according to what you are expecting and desiring, you can pause and you can choose that higher dimension of awareness. And you can experience mystical peace, peace that is not contingent upon circumstances in the world. And so we learn to live above the battlefield of the convoluted thinking of the world. And that's what's taking place now. People are meditating on a daily basis. More and more people are recognizing that it is more keen to be alive in the consciousness of the presence of that moment than in any other place in their awareness. So that's what we're practicing here in Unity of Boulder. And here's Tole's explanation of that. This, by the way, is true. This can never go away. You can leave here today. You can go out into the world. You can live in the world of distractions, and you can go up and down, never wondering what the meaning of life is all about. Or you can choose to get in touch with what will lead you to the life truly worth living. This is it, cogently put by the master Eckhart Tolle. Can we have this, please? In his book, Stillness Speaks, when you know who you truly are, there is an abiding, alive sense of peace. You could call it joy, because that's what joy is. Vibrantly alive peace. It is the joy of knowing yourself as the very life essence before life takes on form. That is the joy of being who you truly are. So again, together we are going to practice withdrawing ourselves from the incessant thinking of the mind, which has been programmed from our childhood to be involved in attempting to gain personal advantage in something, somewhere, somehow, over and over again. Let it go. Just let it go now. And while we're meditating together, if you have feelings of changes taking place, that does happen. You'll have physiological things taking place, or some vertigo maybe at first when you're meditating. If that's happening, just relax. Don't try to make something happen. Just relax and give yourself permission to be sitting here doing nothing. The ego hates that affirmation. I am sitting here giving myself permission to be okay with things just the way they are. as we go forth from this meditation, let us go forth with an open awareness, knowing that we are emissaries of divine light, love, and peace. Holding that in our consciousness, we become healers of the planet. That is our purpose today, to be present in the awareness of the divine and to practice the peace that surpasses the understanding of the world. For this opportunity in every moment, we give thanks. And to this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. As we're preparing to do that, I would like to remind you that this colorful little handout that you were given, which has to do with the upcoming benefit concert for the Teospe Crisis Center. These are the Native Americans from the Lakotas, and they are attempting to build a greenhouse so they can sustain themselves during the winter, etc. But this is going to be an amazing thing taking place. It's going on from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight. You don't have to stay that long, but throughout all that time, there's going to be tremendous entertainment. Native American bands, storytelling, there's going to be things for the children, special events, things like that. So why don't you spend the day enjoying the Indian culture? You can go out and buy a ticket to this for $20 at that table on your left as you go out the door.
Sister Nia will be doing the opening storytelling at 3:30.
Right. Okay, as we take our offerings in our hands, let's bless them with this offering statement. Bless it from your heart with real gratitude for the opportunity to be on this path toward divine enlightenment. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. Together, please. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give.